Brendan Dolan, thank you very much for joining me today for Tungsten Tales. Nice to see you. A rare week off in the PDC. How you doing?
Yeah, oh, it's good. It's a rare week off. Yeah, it's that busy now. The calendars, fall from one end to the other. So when you get a week off, it is, very appreciated.
What does a week without PDC competition generally look like for yourself these days?
Oh, well, I suppose I still keep throwing and practicing. At the end of last year, I have a new dart room set up, and to go in there and still put in the hours that's needed because with the talent that's around these days, you can't really totally take a complete week off.
Yeah, you're still very much hitting the practice board and trying to get those narrow margins for when you do return to the Pro Tours on Monday.
Well, that's it, because it is so small the margins now between winning and losing. Um, you have to keep put everything into it, and the more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. Even if it is when you put the effort in, you might get a wee bit more luckier. That could be the simple thing, and sometimes that's what it takes, a wee bit of luck. Somebody cut the wire and miss, and you pop the finish out, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's been a little bit like that in the first 3 months of the season? There's been some good performances there, but the results maybe don't show how you've played in patches.
Yes, I feel I've played some good stuff, but I feel that it's probably, a focus, concentration thing that has led me to lose matches. I've kind of dipped at the wrong time, but and overall, you take a look and you go, "Oh, I played quite well," but that's not good enough. You have to completely push it home to the line and not drop and your momentum or anything you have in the game. So it's a bit more focus, I think, and concentration is my problem at the minute. And I've probably you know got bad results because of that. So it's just work in progress for me. I kind of know what I have to do to improve, and that's what it's all about. Knowing where you are.
I remember a number of years ago when you went through that sort of quite drastic change with your throw, you said that when you were practicing, you were throwing quite quickly, but you went up on stage and you'd actually slowed it down. Was concentration maybe a part of those sort of changes you went through?
Yes, I think suppose when you're throwing with a wee bit more speed. It doesn't take as much concentration. The concentration is just in your first start. I believe that it's more momentum than carries you through in the rest of the throw. But obviously, you need to focus uh, for that first start to carry you through. And I would have always said probably my worst attribute would be my concentration. I have near enough everything else, but that's just something I have to, get better at and brain train myself probably too to not be thinking of other stuff like rankings or how I'm doing and what it's going to lead to, and silly stuff that goes through our player's head. You know, I think about a couple of weeks ago, I said, "That's it. Anymore, I'm finished. I'm just gonna play 501 from now on." And just keep repeating it. It's going to be boring, thinking of just 501, get it finished as quick as possible. But that's what I have to do, and get all silly thoughts out of my head, of where I am, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware, but at the Pro Tours just last week, you had a streak of 319 events that you'd attended, Players' Championship events, which stretched back to 2011, the first Players' Championship event you've missed in what, 14 years. That's just incredible, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it's not in my eyes, as Roy Keane would say, I was just doing my job. I was just turning up for work. That's basically it. Possibly I'm one of those people I didn't take a day off, I didn't put a sickie in or anything like that. But for that record, I suppose it is, in a way, it's nice to know that I've been in the game that long and I've been competing that long. But in another way, it's probably not the best record to have because it probably shows that I wasn't at the very top of the game. and that I couldn't pick and choose when I wanted to play. So it's one of those. It's nice to have, lasted so long and played so many consecutive tournaments. But at the same time, it's not a real record for me, if you know what I mean. It's just, something I do. I just turned up and I played. It's not. I love the game of darts, and that's why I turn up and play. So, it's one of those. It's not a massive thing, I think, in the big scheme of things.
We see a lot of players, as you sort of alluded to there, that don't turn up for that many of the Pro Tours throughout the year. Obviously, the Premier League players and players that are in a lot of those European Tour events as well. Does the
Yes.
motivation sort of dwindle at times when you're playing so much darts throughout the year? Because you could be playing pretty much every week.
Well, you can play pretty much every week and leading into a weekend, and you're playing it as well, and then you're back the next week. It can, I found it last year, when I was doing a lot of the European tours, that, I could be home, away from home, maybe 3 weeks, just constantly playing darts. And that ends up, I have to say, sometimes you're not motivated. Sometimes you're just waiting to get home. And for the tournaments in the middle of it, you're just going through the motions. It's a terrible thing to say, but you do it that often, you just go through the motions and you just want to get that tournament out of the way, kind of thing. And that's not the way to be approaching the game. And you need fresh enthusiasm for the game. And I do believe, the people that's doing the Premier League, with all the traveling they're doing, it is only right for them to pick and choose some of the floor events. Obviously, them people that's in the Premier League, they're at the higher end of the rankings, near enough all of the rankings, which means they're not going to lose out on any of the TV majors, and that's what it's all about, I suppose, qualifying for TV majors and making your name in the public eye. That's what it's, you're striving to do. That will tell you how successful you are, how well you do in the big TV tournaments. So first and foremost is to qualify, and the lads that can pick and choose is the lads that's already at the top of the rankings. And I think because of the busyness of the calendar and that, they should manage their schedule.
Yeah. You've obviously won 9 Pro Tour events in your time on the PDC. Not huge amount of players at sort of the lower end of the top 32 where you've been for the last decade or so can match things like that. How much pride do you take in the records you've got, particularly on the Pro Tour?
Yeah, I think it's nine Pro Tours and a UK Open. So to win 10 PDC events, it is a great achievement. To win one is a great achievement because there's people been, as high as 20 or 18 in the world that has never actually won a title in the PDC. And in the past, that has been the case. Like, so you can do really well in the PDC and climb the rankings, but to be a winner, it takes something else. And if you can say you've got one title in the PDC, it's a massive achievement. Like, and I've been lucky enough to do it 10 times. I obviously would prefer to have 10 TV titles, but it's not the case. I haven't performed to the a decent enough standard when I have been on the television in them majors, and I know I've failed in that respect, but I have, succeeded on the floor, and I know I'm not finished yet in the game, and my ambition is to actually get them titles in the next few years.
You still feel there's a lot more to come. The best years are very much ahead for yourself still.
It can be because I believe the standard of the play that is now is making the likes of myself even better,
Mm.
and I am improving. And I know on any given day I can beat anyone. For me, it's about consistency, concentration, focus, and that's what will strive and get me them titles if I manage to succeed. And being successful and being uh, repetitive and hitting in big averages constantly, and that's what the game is now turning into.
How much has the game changed, particularly on that PDC Pro Tour in the last 15 years? We're now saying probably more young players than ever, on the tour. The standard in certainly at the bottom end, I feel, is a lot stronger than it used to be. Do you view it like that? How has it changed?
Yeah, I would view it. I do believe the standard has got higher. When I say maybe the elite player could not have improved that much more than Phil Taylor at his best, but the standard may be slightly better. But what it is done is the chase and pack is so much better now than it used to be, 15 years ago. And like you say, even what would be qualified the bottom end of the ranking system, the they're so much better now. You could get any one of them to actually win a tournament on the floor. It's the talent is that deep, and I would even go as far as to say is the dart players that have missed out on tour cards that are, playing on the challenge tour and are waiting to get a go. Them players there could easily win a pro tour or floor event. And I do think because of you're playing so many games in one day, the floor events are probably the hardest thing to win in the PDC. You know, when you're setting up for a TV tournament, it's normally over a week, and you only have to get yourself ready for one game a day usually. Some of the weekend, the UK Opens and that, you might have to play maybe 3 games on the day, but it's spaced out better. Whereas on the floor events, you have to play 7 to get a title. And that is hard work, to be so consistent, and it's mentally exhausting. It does drain you to try and keep in the moment, trying to repeat your performance. Um, so it's really tough, the Players Championships, and I do feel that they're very hard to win. So for me to say somebody that's not even got a tour card could win one of them, it just tells you the standard where it has gone all over.
You mentioned the top end and Phil Taylor there and the huge averages and the huge numbers he was posting. People are now drawing comparisons to the numbers he's posting to what Luke Littler's posting now at 18 years of age. Do you believe
Yeah,
Littler's at that level now, or do you still think there's a little bit to go to sort of match the levels and the output that Taylor had?
I I do believe he's at the levels, but whether he wins as much as Phil did is probably not going to be the case because everybody else is likely. I in the day, especially in the early days, in the early 2000s when I was playing, to play against Phil, it was like, you know, good luck with that. You know, Nowadays, I feel Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys, they're at that level, but it's not good luck with that. It's going to be tough. This is going to be really tough. You're going to have to put everything into this to come out with a win, and you can win, but it's not going to be given to you. You are going to be at the best of your game to get over them. Because my standard has improved, that's the way I feel. But I would have said if I was at the standard now, the standard I'm at now, if I was playing that back in the early 2000s, I would have definitely give Phil a run for his money. I'm not saying I would have beat them all the time, but I definitely wouldn't have the record that I do have against him. I think it's could be, I don't know, it's 16-1 or 17-1. I don't know what it is, but it's not good.
Oh dear. Brendan, really appreciate the time today. Hope you enjoy the rest of the time off that you've got left, and we'll see you Monday on the Pro Tours.
Thanks very much, Josh. Pleasure speaking to you.